I know I'm late. I was busy with something else. But now I'm here to play and finish Rayman.
Rayman poisoning your life? I've got the antidote. Equipped with the latest power booster, nothing can stop it. You can control it yourself or put it in self-pilot. It can kill, crush, destroy, torture, pull ears. Its legs are programmed to squash fleeing victims. In short, it does everything, except the dishes. Don't forget the name of this marvel, the Grolgoth. Decide quickly, I have other clients waiting.
With this, I could destroy Rayman. Crush him. Smash him. I'll take it. Here's your money. It's all there.
Ah, I trust you. You won't be disappointed.
Wow, really? Come on! Are you kidding me with that? There was another switch, of course. Dude, all that with no checkpoint. Come on, man.
Shinayu. Says hello Golden. Shinayu. Says how you are doing?
I'm alright.
Says no checkpoint is damn hard.
I have never played through this game before, so I'm not sure what to do in this level. You know, this is my first time. But I have made it to the end. This is about the end, I think. This is scary, bro. Gotta make all these tight turns without blowing up. Oh my god, dude, whoa. I really don't like this.
Shinayu. Says I've never played Rayman as well, but buddies of mine told to me it's very good.
Yeah, I've heard good things about it. Well, I've heard good things about the second and third game. The first game is, it has some problems, I've heard. No, they made me go through planks too? Come on. Jesus Lord! You couldn't just have any standard platforming? No, we gotta have all these dumb gimmicks. They got to have the slide and the fly section. No, we can't just have a regular level. No.
Shinayu. Says the game devs of 90s were unfair sometimes.
Oh. This is still considered the easiest of the trilogy, though. I've heard Rayman 1 is really tough. Rayman 3 is harder than 2, but people think it's fair. Like, it's not, like, really bad. That's the thing that some people don't like about Rayman 1, though, is that the difficulty does go kind of nuts at points. Survive! No! Of course they put one on the outside wall. They knew people were going to try riding it. Yeah. Don't explode, for the love of God, don't explode. Ugh, they give you such little room to weave around them. Shit! And if I die here, I have to do the whole slide part again. Now I've got to do the whole level again. Thanks! I know I made it to the final part and there's only 2 levels. I beat several levels on my previous 3 streams, but on this stream, I feel like this level's going to take the length of multiple levels at once because of how hard this is. Wait, that actually gives you a checkpoint here?
Says no continues.
Yeah, it actually checks the checkpoint. Thank God. Wait, what? Oh my God! Yes. Oh boy, it's gonna be even tougher now. That's not gonna be fun to go around. Yeah. Yeah. My God, why so many of them? This ain't like Star Fox, bro. Like, I thought I dodged that. Shoot, I had to go down after that.
Sheena you. Says a checkpoint. Sheena you. Says hell yeah. Shoot. I
I steered a little too much out of the way there. Ah! They gotta block so many ways. Oh, they make you go straight down from there, do they? I'm not even kidding. When people say this game is easy, they mean all the platforming. Like, I swear, 99% of the difficulty of this game solely comes from these special segments where you're not platforming. These special flying and slide segments, especially the flying. That's like literally the only part of the whole game I think has any difficulty. Yeah, suck it. Wait, now I'm just in this big thing here. Oh my goodness. Oh!
Back off, kiddies!
All this is done through cutscene? Oh. I was thinking there's some kind of objective to save them or something.
Hurry! Get out of the prison ship, kids! I still have to find Glowbox and fight Razorbeard.
Come in, you useless grub!
Rayman has the 4 masks and he is on the ship.
You failed me again. I warned you, didn't I? Let's see how well you swim in molten lava. Meanwhile, I'll just handle this little problem myself. Prepare the Grolgoth! I know how to lure Rayman to me. Identify target.
Leave my friend alone! Are you okay, Glowbox?
I'll be fine! Now go!
It's hard to aim it because that guy actually knows how to do some. He can dodge, man. That guy knows how to dodge. Makes it a little bit harder to hit him. I gotta admit. Guy's got like jets on his boots. Shoot, man, hitting him is tough.
Now I've got you. Hey!
Don't be afraid, Rayman. I'm here.
Stop saying Rayman, I swear. God damn it.
Whoa!
Bravo, Rayman. You were sensational. Razorbeard is nearly beaten. Thanks to you, hope has come back into our hearts. The slaves have broken their chains and escaped. On land, Polycus eliminated all the robo-pirates. Destroy Razorbeard, and our victory will be complete.
Two.
Now I've got you. Hey!
Okay, this guy's actually kind of hard. Shoot! God damn it! Ah, that part's so hard. Ah. How did that hit me? How did that hit me? How did that hit? I was in the corner! I was holding up into the corner! Really? Now I'm not hitting him correctly on the easy part? This is the easy part! Again, how did that hit me? This game cheats, that's why. I spun and I still missed? Why is that thing home so good? Couldn't I have made the homing weaker on that piece of shit? Again, how did that hit me? How did that hit me? I dodged it clearly! What's with this ridiculous difficulty spike out of nowhere? I'm not even kidding. Every other fight in this game is like 5 times easier than this. The difficulty of this boss is like a complete outlier. This game's been pretty easy mainly for the most part. But this spike just comes out of nowhere.
Schneck. Says devs decided it was time to get good.
Wait, oh, time for devs to get real? Yeah, about time, right? The other bosses are really easy in this game, honestly, but this boss is way, way harder than the other bosses in this game. It's doable though, I can do this. It's not too bad. But it is tricky though. It is admittedly tricky. I'm doing pretty good. I don't think I've even got hit yet. What? I swear the rules on when you dodge that is fucking random. I swear to fucking God. That hit me? I even waited for it to start getting closer, then I moved immediately to the other side of the tunnel and it still hit me. again, the spikes have hitboxes that are bullshit, so sometimes, even though you're in the corner, it hits you anyway. See? There's no fucking rules. It just hits you when it feels like it. Why did he dodge that? He dodged it? Fuck you! How am I supposed to hit you? It's the second phase when he has less than half health is when he becomes bullfuck. I can do this! He's so close to dead! See, I told you, it's fucking random!
I've saved one last little surprise for you.
Oh.
Schneck. Says Rayman is dead. Very sad.
Congratulations, Rayman.
She finally says the name right at the end of the game. Oh my god.
Schneck. Says you were Rayman. Now you have become Rayman.
I hate when she says Rayman, it's so wrong. It's not Rayman, it's Rayman! Man! Not mid! Only one musician, huh? That would explain the consistent genre that it seems to go with. There's a Spanish and French dub of this?
Schneck. Says the studio was French.
Yeah, I didn't think there'd be a Spanish dub, though. Well, this stream was pretty short compared to my last ones, but what can I do? I beat the game, so... I guess we have to end it early. I mean, there's nothing else for me to do. At least it was a decent final finale. They ramped up the difficulty quite a bit for the last two levels in particular.
Schneck.
But
says 100%.
Nah. I usually don't like to 100% things if it's my first time. It usually has to be a game I've already played a lot. Honestly, the only thing I'd be doing is getting more lums. That's pretty much it. And freeing a few extra creatures. But, like... yeah. There's other PS1 classics that I've missed out on because I grew up with the 64 as a kid, so Rayman 2 was just sort of on that list of PS1 games I did not play because I didn't own them back then. I didn't have a PlayStation. So I got a few other ideas for other PS1 games I need to play that I never played before. Like, I've never played a Tomb Raider game. I've never played a Resident Evil... not the classic Resident Evil. No classic Resident Evil. I haven't played Ape Escape or anything like that. Like, there's a lot of PS1 classics I haven't played. I haven't played Croc. None of that. I'll have to figure out something since, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays are my normal solo gaming streams. So that means I'm gonna have to find one today and get a ROM for tomorrow.
Schneck. Says I had a PS2, and there are some PS1 games I want to play sometime too. Like Spyro, maybe Croc 2.
I am already cool with Spyro because I had the Reignited trilogy, thankfully, which gave me an introduction to it. I technically owned the Eternal Night way back, but, like, I don't... that game isn't very good, I'm sorry. It just isn't. I played a lot of Crash. Now, I know I didn't own the PS1, but I did play... I have played the Insane Trilogy, and I have technically played the original Crash 2 before. I've also owned a lot of Crash games growing up because I had a PS2 and an Xbox, and a lot of the later Crash games are on there. I had Wrath of Cortex, I had Nitro Kart, I had Twin Sanity, I had Tag Team Racing. I had all four of those as a kid. So I had a lot of Crash games growing up. This is my first time playing, well, I wouldn't say playing, because I think one of my friends had a Rayman game, and I think I played it for a few minutes one time, but other than that, like, this is my first time actually playing a Rayman game. I've never played a Rayman game before this, really. So, this is my first exposure to Rayman, other than, like, some reviews I've seen in the past. This is a good game. I can see why they ported it to so many consoles back then. This is a good game. I might have gotten frustrated at points, but that's because I suck at video games sometimes. But, no, good game. This is a good game. Recommended.
Schneck says I'm not familiar with that. Not a Spyro fan. Just curious about it. Schneck says alright, Crash exists.
Yeah, Crash is
Schneck
good. There are good
says
Spyro
I keep
games.
forgetting about him.
There are good Spyro games. The original trilogy are all good. The first one might not be as good as 2 and 3, but it's still decent. From what I've heard, A Hero's Tale is meh. It's like alright. Enter the Dragonfly is shit. Enter the, Eternal Night, I won't know if I call it shit, but it is really boring. Like, and I don't think that's good. Like, it's really mediocre. Then there was one after that. I'm trying to remember what they called it. That one was also decent. Yeah, that's kind of the problem with Spyro. Other than, like, the GBA games, which I've heard are good, don't know if they are. Aside from the handheld sequels, the only Spyro games anyone really seems to think are good are the original trilogy. I guess it just kind of fallen off after that and never picked itself back up. To be fair, Crash also fall off his pedestal later on. We have games like Boom Bang. Yeah, let's forget that game exists. We don't talk about Boom Bang. Rayman. This was back when Ubisoft were a cool company. And look at the stuff Ubisoft makes these days. They aren't the same as they used to be, I can tell you that. Alright. I'm gonna wait to see what that comment says.
Schneck says I grew up with Rayman 2 on the PS2, Revolution, and yeah, it's great. Fun controls, great aesthetic, and music. Didn't like Rayman 3. Schneck
Huh. I've actually heard mixed
says,
reviews
alright,
about 3.
Did this version have the better fighting mechanics in the precipice level? Schneck
Honestly,
says no modern studio is.
nah, I wouldn't go that far to say that all of them are bad. But yeah, some of them have really fallen. Like, there's some people who forget this, but there was a time and an age back in the day where EA was actually a good company. That these days, no one would ever think that. They actually used to give a shit. Like, they actually used to give a shit about their games back then in, like, the 90s. Yeah, Rayman 2, yeah, I'm guessing the PS2 version's probably the superior one, because I played the PS1 one. I honestly didn't think too hard about the console differences. I thought I'd be getting about the same experience no matter what, but according to what a friend of mine said, the PS1 version has some of the levels missing. I didn't even know that until I was already like a third of the way into the game, and I wasn't about to restart just because of that. I do know that the PS2 version had a redub, so the voice acting was less corny. And there's also a Dreamcast version and a PC version, I think. I don't really know the console differences between every Rayman 2, to be honest, because Rayman 2 was released on like every goddamn console when it came out. I'm not really a Rayman connoisseur in any way. Like I said, this is kind of my introduction to the whole thing. I've never played a Rayman before this, really. Alright, I think I've been dragging this on long enough. I'll just let him finish what he's saying here. After you're done, I'm gonna try wrapping this conversation up.
Says I frankly really hate modern games. Nothing looks interesting.
Well,
Last thing I bought was Doom 2016, and that's essentially a retro game with new graphics.
I am a little on and
Says,
off.
yeah, I told you last time I watched, the PS1 has a lot missing sadly.
The mod.
Says there's a lot of differences, seemingly.
When it comes to modern, I'll get some stuff because I don't think it's all bad. But I do ignore a lot more modern games than I do retro games. I will at least say that I do ignore them more. But there are some gems hidden in the rough in the modern day. Like, I'm actually going to buy Sparking Zero when it comes out, because screw it, Tenkaichi 3 is one of my favorite fighting games ever, and I want to play the sequel. Honestly, I've seen all the trailers, and that game looks hype as fuck. I'm ready to play the shit out of that game. It comes out on the 11th of October. I'm going to buy that shit. I'm going to stream that shit. The only problem with it is it doesn't have crossplay for some reason, which is kind of stupid, but what do you expect from Bandai these days? Bandai seems to have never figured out online. But hey, dude, I get to play the game, so fuck it. I feel like I would get it on the PC, because I feel like most people who would want to play it would probably play it on PC anyway. Well, I mean, I will, because it'll be easier for me to play with my friends that way. And there were some good modern games. Actually, I don't know if I'd say like 5 or 6 years ago still counts as modern. Does that still count as modern? Like in the last like 5-6 years or so? Streets of Rage 4 was the shit. I don't care what anyone says. And they're making a 5th one, by the way. Can't wait to play the 5th one.
Schneck. Says kinda. 10 is on the line though.
I do agree with you though. Gaming has sort of, well, I wouldn't say all gaming, specifically AAA studios, like
Schneck.
AAA gaming.
Says so Doom 2016 isn't that modern.
Yeah, I say in the last like decade at least, I'd say that the quality of AAA games has generally decreased overall. There's still some good companies that are helping it stay up, and there's some hidden gems there, but a lot of them has been going down a slope. Honestly, most of the stuff that you'll find that's good these days are from indie developers, which is kind of hilarious when you think about it. Hopefully I'm one of them, because I'm working on a few games myself, actually. Although I can understand, because I've tried, making games is actually a lot harder than you think. It's actually a pain in the ass. It's a total pain in the ass. But that's what actually makes it more egregious that AAA studios make them so shoddy. It's like, you have teams of like hundreds of people. How are you not making a game? Like, your staff credits take like 10 minutes to fucking scroll. And you're telling me you couldn't figure it out? Also, this probably should come as no shocker to you, but you know how games have such bloated file size? You wanna know where all that comes from? I tell you, at least 90% of it, like 95% of all that file space, is literally just, the HD textures and lighting effects and stuff like that. Like, basically the graphics. The graphics is what eats up all of that space. Very little of the actual memory is used for anything else. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it. I'm like, I don't need fucking HD. I don't need these super realistic shadows and lights. Honestly, the game I'm making looks kind of like a PS2 game, and I don't care.
Says MHM. Schneck. Says I think indie games are kind of bad too in general, but I'm probably in the minority there.
It depends.
Schneck.
It depends on the developer.
Says I'm making games too. Fun, but tricky.
Use
Schneck.
Godot.
Says multi-million dollars in funding too. Pathetic, really.
Dude,
Schneck.
I'm doing it for free. I'm doing
Says
it by
sound is a
myself.
lot, apparently. And
I'm
yeah,
do-
graphics.
I'm doing it myself. I am a one-man... Well, I mean, okay, technically, there is one project in particular where me and one friend are cooperating, and we're using GitHub, you know, so that we can have repositories so that me and him can work on it together. But all the other projects are personal projects. Aside from having a couple of voice actors hired for voice acting, other than that, it's all me. I have to do it everything. And my god, it's a pain in the ass. Although I do enjoy parts of it, though. That's the thing. That's the reason why I'm a game dev, is because I actually do find parts of it fun. I just hate when you start, because, like, the fun thing about, like, a ROM hack, for example, is all the assets are already done, so you do the fun part, which is the game design. The design is the part I like. Also, I actually do find an odd pleasure in programming for some reason. I'm one of those guys. I actually enjoy it. But the part that sucks to me is when you're starting off and you have to create the assets. That is hell sometimes. Having to create all the characters, you know, character models, whatever, sprites, whatever, based on if it's 2D or 3D. You gotta, like, create the enemies or the objects and all the other models and sprites you need. Modeling the environments isn't too bad. Making the levels isn't that bad. I kind of find it fun. But no, making all the characters and assets that are meant to be used for the game can be a real bitch. But once you actually have all the assets and you can just program them, it gets so much easier after that. That's when you're on easy street, comparatively speaking, at least. Because, like, you have everything you're already going to use, so you just place them wherever you need to place them.
Schneck. Says I like photorealistic games in theory, but I've never seen a good enough example.
I kinda...
Says yeah, I'm working alone too. Schneck. Says thankfully I'm a very logical person, so it comes somewhat naturally even with no experience. Schneck. Says yeah, assets can get tricky fast.
Honestly, when I look at my RPG, like, I'll be honest, it kind of reminds me of, like, if you look at it, it kind of looks like a... It's weird. It's like a PS2 or Xbox looking game. Like, that's like the graphic level it kind of looks like. Like, it almost reminds me of, like, a PS2 game. Honestly, I don't even care, because I'm not about to fucking make a super high poly character model with, like, 1,000,000 bones, and make, like, super, like 10,000 by 10,000 texture atlases and all that shit, just to make it look all nice. I don't really care. I'm not really a big guy who really... I never really make a big deal about graphics. As long as it doesn't look butt ugly and it, like, at least looks kind of appealing. Like, at least if it has art direction, you know what I mean? Like, even if it's low res, if it's artistic and, like, there's a specific vision you go with, and as long as it, like, doesn't look hideous, I'm fine with it. Like, my textures are usually like 1024 by 1024 or 512 by 512 for some other ones. Sometimes it's 768 by 768, and on rare occasions I'll actually bring in some 256 dimension ones, but those are for really basic stuff. Usually the menu elements are more like 512. They're not as big as the textures on the map. The menu graphics don't need to be as high res, in my opinion. And I'm not, like, trying to use that much advanced lighting and stuff. Like, there is lighting, don't get me wrong, but I'm not doing anything super fancy with it. I could not figure out how to get reflective floors to work in Godot, though. Because Godot has a different render engine than Blender, which is a pain in the neck. It doesn't support reflections in the way Blender does, which sucks. Because my OGH building looks so cool in Blender. It looks really cool, but it doesn't look as cool in Godot. I don't know what engine you use.
Says I'll be going for a PS2-esque or GameCube level for graphics.
Yeah, I'm generally more of a
but not so many visual effects besides things like fog and a few things here and there.
I might use some ambient occlusion sometimes. Yeah. Actually, I use proximity fade for the barriers because I'm one of those games where there are like walls that basically tell you, oh wait, that's an off-limits area. So the way I make it work is that as you approach the wall, the transparency of the wall starts to go down so that you can actually see it. Like the alpha gets increased. So like you can actually see the wall slowly come into existence as you approach it, and it's a really cool effect. I like it. But yeah, I'm trying not to, like, overload my GPU or CPU with, like, super advanced shit. I don't want my computer to run the game at, like, fucking 20 FPS. I'm not one of those people. I try to keep it pretty simple and make it run smooth. I don't want to add too much to the scenes. I'm trying to keep things simple. And yeah, I do try to go for a balance somewhere between 5th and 6th gen graphics. Like, low end, it might be, like, PS1 looking, high end PS2. Because anything more than that is kind of overkill for an indie dev like me. I mean, my character models, I kind of had to, like, with my Blender experience, I kind of had to just brute force learn character modeling. And I did learn a couple tutorials here and there, but even if you look at my current main character in my RPG right now, it looks slightly derpy. Like, it looks fine, though his hands are, like, kind of big, but I don't really care. He has kind of meaty hands. His feet are okay, I guess. It's the head, mainly. Most of his body looks fine. It's just when you see his head, it looks just slightly off. And I promise you, I spent, like, 6 hours, I think. I spent, like, half a day trying to reshape the fucking head, and that was about the point that I just gave up, and that's where the head is, like... It still looks okay, I suppose, but it does look a bit jarring at certain angles compared to a normal head. Just slightly, like it looks like something's off. I don't know if it's like the width or something.
Says I started dabbling with Unity a few years ago. I'll stick to it. Schneck. Says I prefer the equivalent of practical effects.
I'll be honest with you.
Shining down.
I'll be honest with you.
Schneck. Says getting proportions on 3D models right is pain. Yes. Haha.
Yeah. Yes. As someone who was also a Unity user back in the day, actually I was a Unity user until like 2 years ago, I can vouch for you that Godot is just an easier engine to use and is more beginner friendly. It is a more beginner friendly engine and it has almost all the same shit as Unity. In fact, even the GUI isn't that different. There's some minor stuff you're gonna have to adjust to, which might take a week or so, but honestly, it was worth it. It was worth it for me to transfer over to Godot because I just think it's a better program. Yes, I said that.
Says
I think it's better.
To start over though.
Oh, right. Yeah, if you're mid-project, then yeah, you might as well finish whatever you're working on. But whenever you are done with your current project, you should really try Godot out.
Says and Unity has more support. No?
That's only because it's been around longer. Godot's actually been getting more support lately because it's a newer engine. It's still being updated to this day, so it is still getting more and more support as it comes. And there's already a surprising amount of stuff you can do in Godot already, even though we're only on like Godot 4.3 or something. But yeah, Godot's not as old as Unity, so of course Unity has more time on its side.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. If you just give it a few years, I'm sure Godot is going to end up having even more tools than Unity, because I've noticed that during the last couple of years, because I actually would know, I mean, I was a Unity user, I've noticed that Unreal and Unity have been starting to get a little bit less popular in recent years compared to some of the new engines that are replacing them. So, I can't promise you that Unity is going to stay such a big, strong program for forever. It might start fizzling out in a few years, for all I know. Now, to be fair, the real reason I left Unity was because they were trying to, of course, they did change their minds recently, which is nice, but they had that whole thing they came out with, like, a year ago, talking about fucking, that, like, charging money shit, and, like, not being open source anymore,
Says
and all that.
As long as it works.
Yeah, Unity has, like, this, like, thing that they were going to do back then, where they were gonna, like, start charging people for using it, and stuff like that. and I was like, hell no! So basically, I decided to look for a new engine that was, you know, open source and didn't cost anything. Like I said, thankfully Unity decided to backpedal and go like, okay, you know what, fine. All the fans hate us now, so let's change it back to normal. And everyone was like, good. But by the time they said that, I was already switched over, and I was not going back. Because, like I said, I've personally, who've been using Unity for years, I've been using Godot for a few months, and I immediately like it more already. Again, like I said, it might not have the same amount of support yet, but it's getting there. It's getting there. And if you're wondering, you can also, so you know in Unity, it uses JavaScript and C# as its programming languages. I don't know if you're using one of those, or if you're one of those crazy people who bought one of those node tree like programming languages, you know, visual scripting. Honestly, I can't stand visual scripting. It just becomes a jungle gym of wires, and it becomes it becomes a mess, and you can't read shit. So I can't stand visual scripting, so I use regular scripting because it's more organized. But I'll tell you right now, if you get the .NET version of Godot, because that's the version, you can still use C# in Godot and it will work. Now, the C# works fine, but of course you can use C# if you want, like, it's fine, it works, but Godot recommends you to use its own unique script, GD script. It's literally a script built for the engine itself, and there's a lot of benefits to this. Because the script is built into the engine, you're able to do a lot of shortcuts that you wouldn't be able to do with a script like C# or JavaScript in Unity. It has more direct ties to the engine, so you have easier access to internal functions with less lines of code.
Schneck says, yeah, that was dumb. Heard a theory it was sabotaged by the previous CEO. Could be false, but it's not unlikely. Schneck says C# for me. Schneck.
Yeah,
says,
my boys.
No, visual scripting is so weird to me.
Hello everyone, we meet Schneck.
Says,
he's part of the C family.
But it wasn't for me.
Schneck is part of the C family, folks. C for life. C for life. I love the C language. That's pretty much going to be like my programming language I just stick with. Now, I do use GDScript for some of my projects. I'm only using C# for the RPG because that was the first project I started on Godot, and I didn't feel like learning GDScript for that. But when I started working on later projects, I did go through the effort of learning GDScript, which thankfully is actually very similar to C structure-wise. So it's not too hard of a transition, actually. There's some minor differences because it does pull some ideas from, like, I think it does pull a few ideas from Python, but like it's mainly written like a C language. It is generally written like a C language. So it was actually pretty easy to adapt to it, and it took me like a week of reading the Godot documentation, because that's usually the good place to learn this shit, is the Godot documentation. I read that for a few days, and I had GDScript down. It was pretty easy. And honestly, I love GDScript because it allows you to write code so much more cleanly than C#, because it's a dynamic language instead of a statical language, meaning that you don't have to specify things that as much. You don't have to type def everything all the fucking time, because you know, like when you're like saying, oh, this is an integer, you have to specify that it's an integer. You don't have to in GDScript. GDScript will look at the number and go, that looks like a float to me. That's a float. That looks like a boolean. That's a boolean. It does it on its own automatically. You don't have to specify it. It just saves time. And there's other things it can do automatically too, and it just makes it so helpful. Now, of course, if you want to specify it, you still can, and GDScript is okay with that. But it can do it automatically, which is awesome.
Schneck says that's weird.
It's actually really helpful. It's really cool. Not only that, but
Schneck
it also
says
makes
you didn't
writing...
answer earlier. but did the precipice level in this version of Rayman 2 have the different combat? With the enemies running around instead of standing still? Or is that PS2 exclusive?
Precipice. I think they were moving. I'm trying to remember. That's probably in my part 3 stream. So I suppose if you really must know, you could just look for it on my part 3 stream, because I don't exactly remember. Anyway, it was fun talking about game development with you. I love talking about game development. But, oh, Zool, you're late. I already beat the game. The only reason why the stream is still going is because I already beat the game like 40 minutes in. So me and Schneck have just been talking about game development for some reason. I don't know why, but it's fun. It's always a good time talking about game development. Yeah, after I ended part 3 yesterday, I only had 2 levels left. So today, I only had to play 2 levels. To be fair, they were way harder than the rest of the game. I don't know why, but when you get to the last, like, 2 levels, the difficulty just goes whoop! Out of nowhere. So it actually took me several tries to beat those 2 levels. So I had to go to the prison ship, which actually had no lumps, by the way. In fact, after you beat the level before it, there's no lumps left in the game. You have to do an annoying slide section, and after the slide, you have to do an annoying flying section, where you have to fly through cramped ship spaces without bonking the walls, which was really annoying.
MTZ Yule says seems like you guys in the chat are having fun. MTZ Yule says also hi. Schneck says oh yeah, I could do that. Schneck says yeah, it was fun. MTZ Yule says oh, you did? Congrats. MTZ Yule says so, how was it? Schneck says he ascended from Rayman to Rayman. MTZ Yule says that Schneck went from Rayboy to Rayman V.
So, after the prison ship level, which, like I said, it took me... I died a few times, I'll be honest. You do the final boss fight with Razorbeard, which is 2 phases. Phase 1 is actually really easy. I only got hit a couple times on my first try because I didn't know the pattern yet. But once you know the pattern, he's actually really fucking easy. But then there's Phase 2! It's way worse than Phase 1. So, in Phase 1, all you really do is shoot back the bombs he throws at you so he gets hit by them. Although, you do need to aim it a little good, because if you aim it near one of his sides, he will actually dodge it with a rocket foot. Like, if you aim at it so it doesn't directly hit him in the middle, he will actually zip out of the way to dodge it, which makes it extra annoying to hit him. But still, I kind of got the hang of hitting him. It's not that hard to hit him, honestly. If you know the right positioning to hit the bombs back, he can't dodge them. But then you get to the second phase where it's another flying section, of course! You fly through a tunnel while he tries to constantly shoot shit at you, creates spike walls you must avoid, and then also throws more bombs again, which you can hit back at him. But then there's also these weird missiles that chase you, and then if you manage to dodge them, you can aim the missile at him and hit him with it. But it's really hard to not take damage. In fact, when I finally won, I was at like 2 health left. I only barely beat a stupid ass. Yeah, Phase 2 is a bitch. Because I swear to God, sometimes you swear you dodge something and it hits you.
Schneck says PS2 has a different Phase 2. Schneck says he tries to drown you in lava in that one. MTZ Yule says so you only had to get used to the boss patterns.
Yeah, because after I died a couple times on Phase 2, I did manage to do like half of his I did manage to take off like a third of his health without getting hit once, which was cool. But I'm telling you, man, when you get him down to around 40-ish% or less health and below, his pattern gets more annoying, and it gets to the point where I swear to God, there's almost nothing you can do to avoid it. Like, I'm sure if you're a pro player at Rayman, or if you're like a speedrunner, I'm sure you could probably do it damageless, but I do not have the skill for that, because not taking damage on that last phase is really fucking hard. Because, yeah, like I said, he makes it really hard to deal damage to him without also getting hit yourself. It's funny how I keep talking about how hard he is, because literally all the other bosses in this game are pushovers. The other bosses are not hard. Like, they were all easy. But then there's Razorbeard, who's just in a class of his own. Also, that's interesting. PS2, he has a different face. That I might have to look that up sometime. You know another game I kind of want to play? I don't know if I'm going to do... I don't know if it's going to be my next game or eventually a game I play, but I've always wanted to play the older Wario games. I've never played them. The only one I played was Where. When Where is fun, but never the land games. Or World. Okay, I think the stream's long enough now since I prolonged it with random talking. Let's just wait for the comment. Because there's new comments. I don't want to not read comments here.
MTZ Yule says, what about Wario World for the GameCube?
That's what I said, because I saw a review from the Lonely Goomba recently about Wario World, and I'm like, oh yeah, that game! Like, it actually looks pretty fun. He does say he does say technically, it's one of those kinds of games where it's cool, but it's also kind of repetitive, which is also why they made it short, because I guess they knew that if they made it longer, people would start getting sick of it. But they said it has great music, and it has a lot of fun challenges outside the main combat. He says if the game was just a beat-em-up, it would get kind of stale. But the fact that there's a lot of platforming challenges and puzzles on top of that, it actually gives you an incentive to play more of the game than just beating up enemies. And the bosses all look fun to fight, actually. Although, if I do get Wario World, I'm going to get the PAL version, because the American version has a inferior final boss fight. Because, the American version was technically made first. The Japanese and PAL ones came out later, and the developers realized that the final boss sucked, so they added a second phase. Yes, there was no second phase in the American version. They added a second phase to the crystal to make it more interesting to fight. So if I even do get the game, I have to get the PAL one, because I want the better boss fight. I don't see anything, so if no one's going to say anything more, then I'm going to end stream here. Unless the chat's lagging for some reason. I can't even view chat, because for some reason on my going live page, it just tells me something went wrong when trying to load the chat, so I can't even look at it. I have to look at it on my OBS window, which looks kind of stretched, if you couldn't tell. Anyway, that's it. Wait, never mind, there's more comments now, all of a sudden.
Says I have something to say. Schneck. Says. Schneck. Says goodbye. MTZ Yule.
Yeah, have a good day,
says
have a good day, Schneck.
See ya next time, laughing face.
Hey. Maybe I'll talk to you on DMs in a bit. See ya!